20 years of good memories working here, yeah. Because it is such a nice atmosphere. Yeah, lovely building to work in.
If you had said to people in the beginning, we're thinking of designing a building that's totally different. It's going to be plastic. It's going to be yellow. People would have just blown their mind. They just couldn't have got round it.
This is indeed the age of change. Your business is changing constantly. Herman Miller believes your office should change with it.
Herman Miller really were the first people to do open-plan office furniture. There's this idea that you could reconfigure, reshape your office into different groups, sitting together or whatever, in an open plan with landscaping in between. It was a new way of working, a new democratic way of working.
And what exactly is Action Office? Well, I'm walking through it right now. It's a far better environment for today's changing functions, an instant, flexible office facility that can parallel the surging, turbulent business life it serves. This is indeed the age of change.
We are passionate about design in every way, and so choosing an architect is not an easy thing for Herman Miller. So any suggestion that Nick would sort of be a shoe-in, no way at all. Nick was in many ways the outsider from a very, very prestigious list of people who applied. Norman Foster, James Sterling. There were about 5 or 6 people.
The brief arrived from Herman Miller, and they were looking for a building which they could change and alter, which was to look after them, in the sense that the building and the furniture was there to support human activity. It wasn't the other way round, you know, and that appealed to us a lot.
Nick was very interested in that because it almost responded to things that he believed in, and what it meant in building terms, and as we translated it, was the building had to adapt to change.
So we thought up this idea, which really mirrored the way they tried to sell their office furniture. It was a steel frame with an interchangeable external skin of insulated panels of fiberglass. That meant that they could change the panels around to fit what was going on inside. So you could switch an insulated fiberglass panel for a glass panel, and you could move the entrance doors. They had sort of indentations in the outside where you could make a courtyard for sitting in opposite where there were break areas. I even wanted to call it Action Factory, like their Action Office. I wanted it to be a factory that could be reconfigured, changeable and adaptable.
It's developed over the years, so as the factory's grown, the alcoves that were in the side, for example, have been taken out now so that the new machinery can go in straight lines down the side. So it's sort of expanded with us.
We wanted a level of flexibility that wasn't available in contemporary buildings at the time. I think that's what made it revolutionary.
The windows around the outside makes it not like normal factories. Certain factories you can't see out, whereas this you could. It's nice to see the natural daylight, isn't it? Because it's in a beautiful setting, really.
The idea of building a factory with windows that everybody could look out of was a little bit of an anathema to a lot of people. They thought, well, you know, if everybody's looking out of the window, they're hardly going to be busy at their work. But of course, it's a very stimulating thing.
Factories I used to work in was like no windows at all, but this was like really light, airy. You could see out the scenery and you had a lovely riverbank to look at. It was really nice.
We were giving daylight for the business up himself, which is one of my sort of, you know, industrial democracy ideas.
It made you want to come to work. And we'd make rafts from local materials that we had in each factory. All the families used to come along. You could be alongside the riverbank.
People ended up in the river. There was some that sank. But no, it wasn't necessarily about the winning. It was always good fun.
In 1982, such was the success of our original building, they came to us for another one. The second building was interesting because it learned lessons from the first building, and I think that that's an important thing in our office. We had quite a lot of problems with the manufacture of the fiberglass panels, so we decided to go for aluminium panels on the second one. They were pressed out on a local steel press, and they were bolted on. The bolts were exposed. The brief was basically the same. All the same principles applied, even the idea of having external service pods, toilets in a pod, transformers in a pod, the water tank in a pod. And so you could put the building up on its own and again could be altered and changed to meet their demands. The first building we did for them, they're getting 6 times the amount of production out of it that we designed it for. They've got to a point where they couldn't do any more on that site, so they're moving on. I mean, the great thing is it's become a listed building, which means that the quality's been appreciated and will be kept. And also, so hopefully, find another adaptive user who will really use the ability of the building to change.